On today's show,
The process is dead. Long live the process. We discuss how the Sixers move on from GM Sam Hinkie.
it's Throwback Thursday.
And there's a whole lot more than one shining moment in this week's meme team.
It's Thursday, April 7th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or joining us live on NBA TV or a little bit later on YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
We're not going to get to it, so I just wanted to say congrats to the Blazers. The surprise of the NBA season, getting into the playoffs.
Absolutely. To Tass's right, mine as well. International man of mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lele.
Lily, and last, certainly not least, making a whole lot of noise down there, paying off his March pick'em loss. It's starters blog editor Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-yo! Yes, TK lost on the final night of March in the pick'em contest, and seeing as it's April and a lot of spring cleaning is happening, the weather's getting a little bit nicer, that's exactly what we have TK doing today. This place is a pigsty,
Yeah.
Trey, so you're going to be cleaning it up all show.
You're telling me I've never been this on the floor in here, and it is legitimately gross.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
we better get some of those yellow floor slippery when wet signs. Someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah, no dancing in the front of the
And
desk.
if you can try not to scrub so loud if possible.
All right, I'll gently scrub.
Yeah, but we also
Still thoroughly, okay?
Yeah, still thoroughly. We want Lee Ellis to be able to eat a banana off that floor by the end of the show. Okay. All right. So we had a fun show tonight. We got the meme team. We've got TBT with Rasheed Wallace. That's always a blast. But first, we start with a little Is This News? And if you're new to the show, here's how this works. Trey, while he's doing his chores, he rounded up some recent NBA headlines. He's going to pitch them to us, and we'll determine whether or not they're actually news. Have an idea what the first headline is all about, Trey?
Yeah, our first headline comes from NBA.com, and it reads, Sixers Hinkie gives up rebuilding project in Philly. Is this news?
Yes. Yeah. And gives up project. Well, they told him somebody was going to come in and basically be your partner, be on an equal level. Sam Hinkie wasn't good with that, so he decided to leave. I don't think they gave him enough time. When he proposed this plan less than 3 years ago, he should have got more time than this amount of time. There should have been just a longer timeline. That being said, I think what Sam Hinkie kind of devalued or underrated was winning. And culture to a degree.
So.
Yeah, but it's entirely fine to go out and lose basketball games with this idea. If that's your proposed plan, he said we were zigging while everyone else was comfortably zagging in the league. But you have to put some winning on the basketball floor to some degree. A guy like Ish Smith, who finished the year last year with the Philadelphia 76ers, Nerlens Noel loved him. He was a point guard. He won basketball games for them. Well, he let him go. Sam Hinkie said, no, he's a 27-year-old. We can bring in other guys like T.J. McConnell and Tony Roten, for instance, and they were terrible with those guys. They were 1-30, and at that point, they brought in Jerry Colangelo, and Jerry Colangelo said, there's this guy, Ish Smith, who was on your team last year. We can get him back. So they traded 2 second-rounders for Ish Smith, and after that, well, they won 9 basketball games. They had won 1 previous to that.
Yeah.
There is a balance. You just can't have a culture of no winning whatsoever, but at the same time, they had this plan proposed. They didn't give him enough time to execute it.
But the problem with the plan and the process is that you can just keep doing it year after year after year. You can say, well, we're tanking, not bringing any guys, want to get more ping pong balls, want to get more picks. That's fine. But if you keep striking out on any of those picks, then you can just keep saying it every year. Well, we'll get them next year. We'll just lose more games.
It doesn't make sense. So right now, when you have potentially 2 top 5 picks this year, it doesn't really make sense to oust Sam Hinkie. You brought in Jerry Colangelo as a mentor. Why would you bring in another guy on his level to further this process?
I mean, the problem, though, I had is they were drafting injured players as well that had no plan to play that following season. And I think perhaps as importantly as winning games, I think it's projecting a winning mentality.
Foot cramp
and
down there.
Yeah, a little foot cramp. It's all, no big deal. It's fine. Don't draft me. I'm injured.
You just got picked up by the Sixers.
I think for the perception for those outside the franchise and even those young players is they weren't interested in winning, and that does affect you. You don't look at any other franchise that says we want to be a losing team from day one of the season over and over and over again. And that is the real problem, that people just looked at the Sixers and go, well, the players they've got in right now are just placeholders until they get that LeBron James in the draft, and then they're going to start rebuilding. And I think that if you're a player in that situation, you're like, well, why do I want to be a part of this franchise and this team?
By all accounts, I mean, Hinkie was good at obviously demolishing what they had and getting a whole bunch of picks. And I think he's a genius when it comes to sort of the analytics of it and obviously dealing with the salary cap. And they got a ton of salary cap room. The problem is, of course, now so does everyone. So that's a bit of an issue there as well. But he wasn't, again, by all accounts, not great at the other stuff in terms of running a team. And I think that's a huge thing. Sort of looking sometimes at these picks and these players as just chess pieces and forgetting a little bit that they are humans.
Yeah.
And that
And
there's a whole lot of losing going on and a whole lot of those guys in the locker room going, well, I'm not even going to be here probably in 2 or 3 years. And that's creating a weird environment in that locker room. In that organization.
Why would that happen now? It doesn't really make sense now before he's going into another draft to say, hey, we're bringing in somebody else to basically take some of your job. It doesn't really make sense to me. I understand people are human and the threshold that they have is extreme. I mean, I called Ish Smith a real piece to this team to help them win.
Yeah.
And you brought out TJ McConnell out there and you would have gotten 8 wins max. You know, you would have had the record if you didn't go out and get Ish Smith, and they wouldn't have got Ish Smith if they didn't get Jerry Colangelo. It didn't really make sense to me. And he said on Zach Lowe's podcast that he lost 20 pounds when they were losing those first 2 months of the season. I don't buy that. He was extremely happy with the losing because he wanted to lose more and more.
Let me ask you, though, do you think he did a good job drafting over the last 3 years?
No, he struggled. He definitely.
I don't think he has, and I think that's what did him in. He went and got the picks, and then he struck out on a majority of these picks. I know we're still trying to find out about a couple of them, but the big one was when they got Noel, and then they got a couple bigs there, and then they've got Embiid, and then they get Okafor.
Yeah.
And it's like, he talked about in his resignation, his 13-page letter to the Sixers brass, that we'll talk about on the drop tomorrow in great detail, by the way, but that's in of itself crazy. But he says, well, we want to play this run and pace system. Get going, move the ball, get shots up, you know, all this. But why then would you draft 3 centers?
Yeah. Well, they were definitely expecting to get D'Angelo Russell last season. I think that was a bit of a shock that they didn't get him.
I understand that, but just because Russell's gone doesn't mean there's other picks there in Porzingis and Moutier and so on.
Yeah, but Okafor, I think, was the best projected pick after him, so they sort of had to do that. But also, when they got Michael Carter-Williams, he got Rookie of the Year in a weak class, but then they traded him away as well. So for all these other players, they must have felt like, I mean, you've got pride as a player. You don't want to be the laughingstock year in, year out without seeing what is coming on the horizon when those wins are coming. And so for the guys who have been there a long time, they're just like, this is crazy. We're a joke. Everyone's laughing at us.
Yeah, again, lots to unpack here. I think with the letter and Sam Hinkie and where the Sixers go from here, we'll get into it in greater detail on tomorrow's Drop podcast. We'll have that up in the morning. Trey, next headline for us. What do you got? You're working hard, man.
Yes,
I know.
great.
This is the most I've cleaned in my life, to be honest with you. Our next headline comes from ESPN, and it says, Kendrick Perkins says Kevin Durant has a few teams he will be looking at. Is this news?
This is why everyone loves Kendrick Perkins as a teammate. He makes jokes. No, this isn't news.
No.
Who cares?
Yeah.
No.
He's going to look at possible teams to consider in free agency.
That's probably going to
Cool.
happen.
Thanks.
KD is going to weigh it out when the season's over. That's it.
Thanks.
Goodbye. I think Kendrick Perkins was joking around, and that's probably why his teammates love him.
He's known as
He's
a
a
prankster.
jokester.
Yeah. I just don't think why Kevin Durant would say that, reveal any details to Kendrick Perkins, and then ask him to sign a confidentiality agreement. And if he did sign a confidentiality agreement, hasn't he kind of broken that anyway by saying...
He's joking about that. He's joking about that. He did stress, though, Perkins, that he thought KD wouldn't make his decision or would only make his decision depending on how OKC did in the playoffs. That's what we've
all think that
all
anyway.
been saying that for months and makes total sense. So not news at all, Trey. Yeah, one more headline for us.
Yeah, one last headline. It comes from NBC Sports, and it says, report, the Spurs won't rest players Thursday versus the Warriors. Is this news?
We knew this yesterday. I don't think this is news whatsoever. They have a goal. They want to win in Golden State. This isn't news whatsoever. They've won at home against the Warriors. That's great. In the Western Conference Finals, when they do host the Warriors, they can say, we won here. But they haven't been able to say that we won in Golden State, and that's what they're going out for tonight on TNT, to be able to have that under their belt when they do go into Golden State in the Western Conference Final. That's very important. Are the Warriors in a vulnerable position because they've lost 2 of their last 3 at home? I guess so, but I think we're going to see a great Warriors team, a great Warriors performance tonight. They haven't lost consecutive games, and I expect that to continue tonight.
Yeah, Pop doesn't care about anyone else. He just worries about his own players and his own strategy. And sometimes we confuse conceding players to conceding losses for Popovich. It doesn't matter who sits on the bench. He expects his guys
Sure.
to win. So it doesn't really matter who's playing or who's not. Popovich is always out there for his own team.
It is news to NBA fans, though, because hopefully we get a close game.
Yeah.
If all that firepower is out there, obviously the Warriors trying to set the record of 73 wins, they got to win outright. And the Spurs, of course, trying to send a message, if they are, that they can win in Golden State, then we should have a good game.
Yeah.
Hopefully so.
Likely no Boris Diaw tonight, who was a very key piece when they won in San Antonio because Tim Duncan sat on the bench, but Boris Diaw actually has an injury. But this team actually has a chance of getting the 1 seed, although it is unlikely.
And remember, the Warriors haven't lost back-to-back games all season. Neither have the Spurs. So,
I know.
That's a little mental edge that maybe the Spurs want to have.
So you will be having some espressos tonight.
I'll be having several espressos
Yeah, that's
tonight.
right.
Yeah, I'll probably still fall asleep, but I'll have the espressos.
Boris Diaw isn't around. Maybe you can grab his espresso machine from
that's
his
a great
locker.
idea.
That's absolutely right. TNT doubleheader. Tass already said it. Bulls Heat, 8 p.m. That gets us started on TNT, followed by the Spurs and the Warriors.
Exciting.
Round 3. Trey, keep scrubbing, my man. How's the back feeling?
Hard work, man.
I'm struggling.
All right.
Oh man, my wife is gonna be so mad to see me cleaning for literally a half hour at a time.
You need to do some bar 3, man.
I know my core is horrible.
Yeah.
No core strength.
All right, keep cleaning. Keep cleaning. We gotta take a break. Yeah, speed cleaning. When we return, ball don't lie when it comes to NBA Throwback Thursday.
You're like Bogut down there, cleaning with both hands.
Welcome back to the Starters, where it's time for a little NBA Throwback Thursday fun. And today's player in the TPT machine is right there. Trey dusting away. Good stuff. Rasheed Wallace, Sheed in the TPT machine. Obviously, 16 seasons Sheed played. Averaged about 15 and 7. Was great for a block and steal a game.
Yep.
Shot the ball right, 4-time All-Star, All-Rookie when he first came in. You may forget that he played for the Bullets way
Yeah,
back
for
when.
sure.
Washington Bullets before going to the Blazers. And then, of course, winning a championship with the Pistons in 2004. Ball don't lie, both teams played hard, cut the check, quite the character Rasheed Wallace is. But again, a pretty impressive career when you get down into the numbers and, of course, the championship and the impact. I think just as a character in general. First thing comes to mind when you think of Sheed, is it the text?
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's got his own rule named after him, hasn't he, really? Because after he got those 41 texts, they changed the rule and said, all right, now if you get 16, you get suspended for a game because he couldn't get out of his own way.
Card down.
Cards are everywhere around here.
Watch those cards.
He simply was that guy who always felt the refs had it in and he could never bite his tongue, and it did cost him. But that is one thing that you do remember about him. I mean, I think he was a small forward in a power forward's body, almost. Like, he didn't mind going down and posting guys up, but I think he preferred to have an open shot and step outside and knock down the three-pointer. That's the way I sort of remember him.
Well, you just triggered one thing that I remember is that he loved defending in the post, and he was really, really good at it. I remember Larry Brown saying he was the best defensive player I have ever coached, bar none, because he was good in the post.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember his ability to be great whenever he wanted to be. He could be great. The thing was, did he want to be on a given night, right? Like, he could have been a Hall of Famer easily if he had the work ethic. If he really wanted to be. He was just a fantastic guy. He had the trick shots. I'm just going to keep talking while we do this.
remember
Sheed to me, actually, we always get people saying, who do you play like? Who's the guy you play like? Sheed to me is a guy I modeled my game on, just because he was a big guy, but he liked to shoot threes. He was kind of a little ahead of his time, to be honest with you, because nowadays, he's a 33% three-point shooter, but if he played now, I'm sure he'd be taking more threes. Nobody would be saying, hey, man, get in the post.
Yeah.
One of the best trade deadline day pickups of all time, too.
Yeah, for sure,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's that little Sheed quirk where he played for the Hawks for one game.
Had an awesome game, too.
Had a great game. Yeah, well, he shot a lot. He shot a whole
5
ton.
blocks.
Yeah, he did. He did fill up the box score. But then he was traded that next day to the Pistons, where, again, he goes in there, helps that team out right away defensively, obviously meshes with those guys, and gets the title in that sort of shocking upset over the Lakers. And then, look, they never won another one. But they went to 5 straight with him Eastern Conference Finals. So, I mean, he was a winner. That was
And Game 7 against the Spurs the following season as well. So they were very, very close. You mentioned about, did he really want to be a player that he could have, a better player than he was? And remember, he's famous for saying, like, hey, I took nights off. And he said other guys do it, they might not admit it. But at least that honesty, you felt that from him.
Yeah. I felt just watching that Pistons team, we all rooted for them because they were guys that bounced around a bit, like Chauncey
Yeah,
Billups
yeah.
and Ben Wallace, and
Hamilton.
obviously Sheed and Rip. They all came together,
Yeah.
and it was just that perfect chemistry. It's hard not to think of that team and the Wallace Bros carrying or lifting that Larry O'Brien trophy.
You know, it's rare for a team that goes on to win the championship to make such a trade, such an impactful trade that season at the deadline. I know the Pistons in '89 did it with Mark Aguirre, but it's rare that other teams have done that to go on and then win the championship for such a key player.
Absolutely. All right, well, we do this with every NBA TBT, and that is try and find the modern-day version of the particular player we're talking about. So the question is, who's a modern-day version of Rasheed Wallace? We ask everyone watching as well. Jump on Twitter, #TheStarters.
Trey Kirby, obviously.
Yeah, I guess Trey Kirby.
That's why I wear the headband sometimes.
That's right. Who do you think, though? Who comes to mind?
Well, I think DeMarcus.
Is it Cousins?
Yeah, I mean, I think because there's automatic connection there of getting frustrated with the refs and getting frustrated.
So the attitude.
Yeah.
The attitude of Boogie is very similar to the attitude of
Yeah,
Rasheed.
and a big guy who, you know, probably doesn't spend as much time on the low post as you would like him to. He likes to step out and take those
Okay.
mid-range.
Well, DeMarcus spends a good amount.
Yeah,
down
but
there.
I think coaches would like him to spend more time down there and use his burly physique a little more than just
Quite
stepping out
burly.
for knocking down the threes as well. But I think it's more that sort of emotional connection.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
it's less sort of the on the court maybe,
Yeah.
but definitely their attitude that they feel like they're being slighted on every
occasion,
single
yeah.
call. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
What about maybe terms of on the court though?
Yeah,
a player.
As far as offensive games, I think LaMarcus Aldridge fits the bill
That's a
pretty
good
well.
pick.
Yeah.
Because the man loved the turnaround. That is what LaMarcus Aldridge has perfected. The mid-range post, the mid-post, the high post, and LaMarcus made it happen. That's what Sheed was so good at. Sheed would have extended to the three-point line, as Trey mentioned, if he was playing in today's game. LaMarcus has a touch as well, although he hasn't hit a three this year with the Spurs, which is remarkable.
And Rip Hamilton, Sheed's former teammate, tends to agree. Lee hit him up on Twitter, of course, bothers all these guys on Twitter. And he said LaMarcus Aldridge, without all the text.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
And then you got the smiley face in there as well.
I think a lot of people throw out guys like maybe Chris Bosh even.
Yeah,
Similar.
yeah,
Al Horford
absolutely, yeah.
comes to mind. So let's hear from you guys. Who is the modern day Sheed, if there is anyone? Gotta take a break. When we come back, the Meme Team, featuring cartoons. Back with the starters, we've had him scrubbing, dusting, and now, as part of his spring cleaning payoff, Trey, who's taking a deep whiff of a shoe for some reason.
Yeah, Matt Bonner's Christmas shoes.
Okay, well, we need
They're
you
fine.
to we
Keep
need you
'em.
to sort some things
Keep 'em.
here.
You guys want to keep all three of these hats?
I don't
We
wear
got
hats.
Eurostep, Grizzled Veteran, winners only.
Yeah, I'll take
For
the
you.
winners only.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I figured.
thanks.
Okay,
Thanks.
Keep
so we'll
that.
donate, keep things. All right, clean up while you go along
okay,
there.
great.
All right,
Sweet,
every
thanks.
Thursday, guys, we scour the internet to bring you the Meme Team, our favorite weird and wacky moments from the past 7 days.
At number 5, it's Bleacher Report's Game of Zones. The 6th installment of the parody is titled The Purple Retirement.
And now, the ceremonial passing of the torch.
I don't think he's passing to anyone.
I think you're right. He's refusing to pass.
He's refusing to
He's
pass!
refusing to pass.
Just get the rebound.
At number 4, sports video game modders have gone too far.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, what can best be described as NBA 2K nightmare fuel here. You've got YouTuber MK Elite taking the bodies of NBA All-Star players and slapping them onto the animations of the league's dance teams.
Do we need to keep all of these Suns jerseys?
No.
Number 3, it's Gordon Hayward's GQ hairdo. Here's the man who executes that cunt, Mr. Anthony Brown.
How many of your clients come in requesting this haircut?
A lot. I would say the most popular haircut right now.
Oh, you can leave it. That's good.
What's the typical time frame?
Everybody gets an hour. The relationship that Gordon and I have built is good.
I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I got the best hair in the NBA.
I think if GQ says it, it's pretty safe to say.
GQ says it.
At number 2, April Fool's Day pranks. First off, we had Durant trying to join the Stash Brothers by crashing their little interview here with a giant taped-on mustache. Enes Kanter and Steven Adams not having it. Andre Iguodala pulled off a pretty good prank last week. He convinced his teammate Festus Ezeli that he was to be released from the team just before the playoffs. Broke the news over the radio while Festus was in a Lyft ride. Get him! But Festus got revenge, like the starters would at Summer League, with a simple cake. Said it was quite cold. Boom! Right on Iggy's head. Some prank, that is. And of course, we had some fun as well with April Fool's Day. Last Friday, we went into the future to the year 2036.
It's bright.
Yes, the show was still on the air 20 years from now. And I'm bald and Lee's fat and things are really weird.
I'm a little sensitive about my figure.
Yeah, sorry. But I also lost an arm.
Yeah.
So things got really weird.
At number 1, memes from that great North Carolina Villanova final. Watch Chuck explode when the shot goes down. Kenny Smith, not so much.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Just going for a
Chuck's
stroll.
got them hops.
Oh, what a shot. What an incredible moment. This man, Michael Jordan, North Carolina alum, well, he was in the crowd and he had to see these crying Jordan memes come in. UNC fans right there for you. The enhancement of the Jumpman logo, that is incredible. The crying Jordan right on there. On his phone, looking at his crying Jordan self. UNC's entire team. Now, this is bad. This one was great. When they beat Duke at Cameron Indoor in March, Coach Roy Williams came into the locker room, did a little dance. All the crying Jordans you can ask for. I like when there's way more than one.
Yeah, I know.
It looks great.
Just when you sort of thought the crying Jordan meme maybe was on the way out, he goes to the game, UNC loses, and it's back with a vengeance. All right, that's the meme team. Got to take one more break. When we come back, Lily's very solid play. Welcome back to the starters. Trey, you did such a great job of cleaning up here in the studio, but we got one more job for you, and that is to tackle the men's restroom that we all use, Shaquille O'Neal included, here at Yeah, make sure no one's in there.
Hello?
Go clean it, man.
Oh, my.
Oh, boy.
Hey, we got one. Hey, I'll give it a minute if I were you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, good luck, Trey.
Thank you.
Wow, going in.
Oh, boy, there's Rick, too.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my.
Get to work, man. It's a pick and pay off. It
That's
sucks.
the way.
It's supposed to
good stuff.
suck.
Clean these up after you're done.
Yeah, thanks. Leave them, Bone. Just leave them. Just leave them.
Wow, we're working overtime.
Just throw it in the toilet.
All right, we have started a new month of the Pick'em contest. Tonight's game, Spurs, Warriors.
Ooh.
All of us.
Unanimous.
All of us say the Warriors will get it done. Lily, where are we going for VSP?
We're going out to the Garden, and it's another beauty from the Charlotte Hornets. 3 bounce passes in this one. Starts with Jeremy Lin, he gets 2. Then Spencer Hawes over to Al Jefferson for the finish. You know I like layups, but I just love the ball movement better. Here it is again, watch that.
That's nice.
That's beautiful. That's what I call a very solid play.
All right, great stuff. Trey, great job. Continue cleaning. Got a few more seconds
very
here.
sparkling
Back tomorrow with the
toilet.
drill. And of course, the show 7 p.m. Eastern. Oh God, he's getting right in there.
What was that about the toilet tray?
This is what I call a very sparkling toilet.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, April cleaning brings May gleaming.
Brace the night, people. Brace that toilet.